Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tirtha Vanachari Jamuna Tirtha Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tirtha Vanachari Jamuna Tirtha Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parigrajagacharya Ashtatala Satashishima His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Anantakoti Vaishnava Brindaki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Itago Premanande All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Narayanam namaskritya naram cheva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayat. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 9, chapter entitled The Appearance of the Demon, Vritrasura, text number 2. Savai bahi shidevebhyo Bhagam pratyaksham uchchakai Adadad yasha pitaro Devasa prashrayam nripa Savai bahi shidevebhyo Bhagam pratyaksham uchchakai Adadad yasha pitaro Devasa prashrayam nripa Savai bahi shidevebhyo Bhagam pratyaksham uchchakai Adadad yasha pitaro Devasa prashrayam nripa Mataji's. Saha, he, Vishvarupa, Vai, indeed, Bahishi, in the sacrificial fire, Devebhyaha, unto the particular demigods. Bhagam, the proper share. Pratyaksham, visibly. Ujchakai, by loud chanting of the mantras. Adadat, offered. Yashya, of whom? Pitara, the fathers. Deva, demigods. Saprashrayam, very humbly in a gentle voice. Nripa, O King Parikshit. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O Maharaj, Parikshit, the demigods were related to Vishwarupa from his father's side, and therefore he visibly offered clarified butter in the fire, while chanting mantras such as Indraya Idam Swaha. This is meant for King Indra, and Idam Agnaye. This is for the demigod of fire. He loudly chanted these mantras and offered each of the demigods his proper share. Text 3. Although offering clarified butter in the sacrificial fire in the name of the demigods, without the knowledge of the demigods, he also offered oblations to the demons because they were his relatives through his mother. Purport. Because of Vishwarupa's affection for the families of both the demigods and the demons, he appeased the Supreme Lord on behalf of both dynasties. When he offered oblations in the fire on behalf of the Asuras, he did so secretly, without knowledge of the demigods. Omagyan Timadandasya Kinanjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Rama Hare Hare. So the demigods have enlisted Vishwarupa to perform a yajna on their behalf. But he also offers oblations to the demons, to the Asura. So we have Sura and Asura. They are cousins. They're all related, very powerful entities. The Asuras are powerful, and the Suras are also powerful, the Devatas. Now, they live in different places in the universe. And we all know that in such a yuga, the demigods and the demons were on different planets. So that's what happens here. They live in the Swaga. Swaga is above the Earth in terms of the universe. The universe has 14 planetary systems. So there's 14 levels. It's like if you go in an elevator, as you're going in the elevator, you can stop, there's 14 floors. So the universe is like that. There's 14 planetary systems. We're in the 7th, so we're right in the middle. Earth is known throughout the universe as Macha Loka. Macha Loka means? Place of death. Why? Because everyone comes here to die. Right? Everyone in the universe dies, but we die quickly. If you're a Devata or an Asura, our lives are over quickly. Right? We don't live very long. If you're a Devata and you're looking down on us, oh, they're gone. What happened to the? Oh, wait a minute, they're gone. Someone's praying to me. He looks down. Oh no, he's gone. It's like, it all happens very quickly. There's this pastime where Revata goes up to Brahmaloka, gets up there, and when he arrives, they say, just give us a few moments, Lord Brahma is busy. A few minutes, he'll be able to see you. So he waits a few minutes. So then after a few minutes, then he says to, Brahma says to Revata, he said, why did you come? And he said, well, I need to get a daughter. I have to get a husband for my daughter. And he said, your daughter? And he looked down at the earth. He said, it's all gone. 14 generations have passed. Your daughter's gone, right? Everyone's gone like that. So if you look at Earth in perspective, it doesn't take long to die here. Right? If you look at it from a universal perspective, the demigods live much longer than us. The asuras live much longer than us. Right? We're just here for a very short time. So it's called Marcha Loka. That's what our planet is known as throughout the universe. So it is said 2 planets within this universe you can go back to Vaikuntha, back to Goloka from. Right? Only Earth and Satyaloka or Brahmaloka. Right? There's only 2 planets. This is one of them. So it's a very special planet. The whole universe worships this planet. Right? It's considered extremely auspicious. Because in a very short time, even though in Kali Yuga is the most inauspicious age, and we live for a very short time. In Kali Yuga, it says that the lifespan is 100 years. Right? And that's not even the average anymore. And we're only 5,000 years in, and I think now it's down to 68 or something. Already. We haven't got much time. You may only have a few minutes left. We don't know. So this particular place where we are, everything happens very, very quickly. So it is called Marcha Loka. It is the planet of death. Everything is very temporary. Now, in the Satya Yuga, the demigods and the demons, they lived on different planets, right? So that's why you see here, like when the wars happen between the devatas and the demigods, when the asuras attack, they fly through space to get to them. It's like Star Wars, they fly through, except they don't fly on X-wings and Y-wings, and it's not spacecraft, but they fly on animals generally. Like Lord Brahma, his carrier is the swan. Indra rides on Airavata, the elephant. Each demigod, Kartikeya rides on a peacock into battle. Right? He is the general of the army of the devatas. You imagine if you're being attacked by a huge peacock. Now, he runs into battle on a peacock, and the peacock's like attacking everyone. Ganesh rides on a rat. I was listening yesterday, and Jadubna Swami was giving a lecture, and he's explaining all the symbols of Ganesh. And he explained why he rides on the rat, rides on the mouse. The mice can get into all different places. They're very like that. So he gave a detailed explanation of why he rides on this particular carrier. So in Satya Yuga, they're on different planets, and then on Treta Yuga, they're born in the same planet, but on different countries. So we see in Ramayana, in Treta Yuga, then the devatas were in Bharatvash in India, and the asuras were in Lanka, Sri Lanka, which is across the ocean. So, they're in different countries. And then Dwapara Yuga, they got born in different families. And you have the Pandavas and the Kauravas, right? Different families. One lot of devotees, the other lot are asuras. And then in Kali Yuga, as we all know, it's in the same body. So you don't know what you're going to wake up with. When you wake up in the morning, sometimes I wake up in the morning and I say to myself, okay, who is it today? Who is there? Is it the demon or the devotee? Who's going to be there today? I'm schizophrenic. Demon and devotee. All of us in Kali Yuga are schizophrenic. All of us. You've all been diagnosed and analysed now, so you can get your healthcare plans. We're all schizophrenic. What does schizophrenic mean? It means we don't know if we're going to act like a devotee or act like a demon. Some days we're very good and we behave very properly, and some days we're a little bit naughty. Some days what does it mean to be a sura? A sura means a devotee. Sura means they're all Vaishnavas. All the suras, all the demigods are Vaishnavas. They all have tilak, right? They're all devotees, right? They all worship Vishnu. They're all devotees, right? The asuras are atheistic by nature. In other words, they are not submissive to the will of God, to the will of Krishna. That is the difference between the sura and the asura. One obeys God's rules, the other one does not. And that's, in Kali Yuga, that's within us. Sometimes we obey the rules of God, and other times, disobedient. I will not follow God's rules. Why do I have to do this? Why I have to chant 16 rounds? Why I have to follow 4 regular principles? Why not 3? Why not 2.5? Why not 1.6? I can do what I want. Like that. This is demoniac consciousness. So sometimes that is within us. Sometimes we want to rebel. We want to do things that we're not supposed to do. That's what it means to be an asura. So in Kali Yuga, it's within both of us. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared to deliver the resonance of the Kali Yuga. So we know in the famous pastime of Jagai and Madhai that Mahaprabhu did not kill Jagai and Madhai, because Nityananda Prabhu said, please don't kill them, because if you kill them, where does it stop? Right? You kill them, and then you have to kill them, and then you have to kill them, and then we're going to have to kill a lot of people. This is Kali Yuga. So therefore, Mahaprabhu kills the demoniac spirit. Nityananda Prabhu kills the demoniac spirit. The asura, that part of us which is in there, they destroy that. So in Kali Yuga, that is the system, right? To destroy it. That's why we chant the holy name of Krishna. In the first verse of the Shikshastika, then Lord Chaitanya says there are 7 benedictions. Right? What is the first benediction? Cheto dapana marjanam. It will cleanse your heart. It will cleanse your consciousness. That is the system that we use. Chant the holy names of Krishna. Chant and be happy. Get rid of all the demoniac desires through chanting. It actually works. Hands up if you think it works. Okay, nearly all of you. Very good. It actually works. Right? If it doesn't work, we'll give your money back. No problem. No problem. No problem. We'll give it back. We are rich. We'll give you money back. No problem. That's no problem. But Prabhupada said, try it and see if it works. If it does not work, you do not lose anything. But if it works, you cleanse your consciousness. What is the greatest benediction? To have a pure heart. Because when you have a pure heart, Krishna will sit in the heart. Just like in the Gundicha Marjana pastime. Right? That whole pastime, right, allegorically teaches us that we have to remove all the dust, all the contamination in the consciousness. Once all that contamination is gone, Krishna can sit in your heart. And if Krishna sits in your heart, what will happen to you? You become a pure devotee, you will be an ocean of bliss. You will feel unlimited bliss. Unlimited bliss, if Krishna sits in your heart. But Krishna won't sit in, at least in my heart, he won't sit there right now. You know, sometimes you go to sit somewhere and it's like dirty and you're like, oh, I don't want to sit there. You know, in the morning we say, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Krishna, come and sit. And then Krishna comes, we call him, he says, okay. And he comes and goes, oh, I can't sit there. Clean that, clean that, clean that, clean that, and clean that. Then I can sit there. So that is the system. So then, we have to take all the help we can get. This is Kali Yuga. We need a lot of help to get rid of all these material desires. So we take shelter of all the different forms of the Lord. Just like Narasingha. When was it his appearance day? On Sunday. Was it Sunday? Yeah. So on Sunday, there was the appearance of Narasingha, Chaturdashi. So then, we pray to Nrsingadev. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains this. How is Nrsingadev significant in our tradition? Why do we pray to Nrsingadev? Because we pray to him, please remove the anarthas with your nails. You pray to him, please remove the anarthas, pull them out, all the impure things in our heart. And then, I can then serve Radha and Krishna with purity, with love. So that is the thing. So we need all the help we can get. So in Kali Yuga, we have to. So it's being described here that Vishwarupa, he was helping the demons and helping the devotees. So we have to choose our camp. Which camp do you want to be in? With the devotees or with the demons? With the suras or with the asuras? And then you have to decide, what are you going to be? Are you going to become a devotee, or are you going to become a demon? The American Indians, the Navajo tribe. You know the Navajos? Actually, I don't know if it's them. I'm just making it. That's the only one I can remember. But the American Indians, one of the tribes, they say that there are two wolves in our heart, and whichever wolf you feed will get stronger. One wolf is the ego, which represents lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion, all these negative qualities. The other wolf, right, is our soul, which has all these spiritual qualities. So who will grow? It depends who you feed. So you become like who you associate with. If you associate with devotees, you will become devotee. But if you associate with the demons, you will become a demon. That's why in Kali Yuga you have to be careful. Because now the demons are inside your phone. They're waiting for you. Hare Krishna. I just got a text. Wait a minute. Okay. So, the demons are in there, right? Facebook. Right? The devotees are in Facebook. Now you get a lot of good information, actually. But the demons are in there too. And they're trying to get to you. You have to be very careful about association in Kali Yuga. Our great guru, Hiranyakashipu. You know him? Biggest demon in history of the universe. If anyone says they are the biggest demon, no. Hiranyakashipu was number one for all time. No one was bigger than him. 3 lifetimes. You know the pastime we just had, Nrsinga Chaturdashi. 3 lifetimes. Actually 4, we know there's 4, but 3 lifetimes. First 2, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu. Second 2, Ravana, Kumbhakana. Third 2, Shishupal, the Dandavakra. And then we know Jagai and Madai, they also came again. But that's Chana avatar, that's covered. That's not mentioned in the Shastra. But then, there's one pastime where Ravana, he was big demon. I think it was Narada or one of the sages said to him, you were much more powerful last time round. Right? He said, how can I be more powerful? How can I be more powerful? He said, come with me. So they took him to one place in India. And there was like a gold mountain, you know, like a small hill made of gold. And he said, you see that? He said, last time you came, that was your earring. That's how powerful you were. So you're not so powerful this time. Ravana's not so powerful. Not compared to Hiranyakashipu. He was the most. Powerful. Biggest demon. So, our guru, Hiranyakashipu, he says in the Bhagavatam, right? Prabhupada explains, you can take gold, or I think Chanakya says it, you can take gold from a dirty place. Even if you see gold and it's dirty, you take that, the gold is valuable. It doesn't matter where you get it from. You can get it from the earth, you can get it from anywhere, but if it is gold, pure gold, it is valuable. You can take it from anywhere. So Hiranyakashipu, if he says something valuable, then we take it. He becomes our guru. But then we don't listen to everything else he says. We have to choose carefully what he says. But he says to Prahlad, Prahlad, be careful. Because whoever you associate with, you will become like them. We are like a crystal. So you look at the crystals. Whatever it associates it with, if you put the blue or the red or the yellow or the green, then the crystal will reflect that color. So that means that whoever we associate with, we become like that. So Hiranyakashipu says, be very careful who you associate with. So if we want to mold our consciousness, if we want to become devotee, you have to choose your association carefully. Associate with pure devotees. So then the question is, who is a pure devotee? What is the answer? Dvija. Who is a pure devotee? Who is pure? What is the answer? One who's fully engaged in Krishna consciousness. 1968, beginning of ISKCON. How many devotees were in ISKCON 1968? 80. Now how many? Too many. Right? Or not enough. Right? So, in 1968, there were 80 devotees. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he said to Prabhupada, he said, Prabhupada, how many pure devotees are there on the planet? Prabhupada said, how many devotees are there in ISKCON? And then Prabhupada explained, it is like a mango. The ripe mango or green mango, they both have value. You may not be ripe yet. But if you keep following the process, you will become sweet and ripe. But even a green mango, it has its value. So Prabhupada said devotees are like that. Okay, maybe we're not fully ripe yet. But if we keep following the process, we can become pure devotees. And by definition, we are a pure devotee. Anyabhilashita shunyam. Jnana-kamadyanavritam. By definition, Rupa Goswami's definition of pure devotional service, you might have material desires. Hands up if you have material desires in your consciousness. Okay, this is alarming. Okay, everyone said yes. Why did I come here today? Everyone has material desires in their consciousness. So we all have material desires in our consciousness. But we are still considered a pure devotee, and we're still considered to be performing pure devotional service if we don't act on those material desires. That's all. We all have material desires. Everyone has. We all know. Right? Sometimes we feel embarrassed. I remember when I was a very young devotee. I'd only been devotee a couple of years. And I said to my Guru Maharaj, I wrote him a letter, and then I said, Maharaj, I have this like material desire. And I was horrified. You know, I sent him the letter, and it's different now. Now you just write to your Guru, you send an email. You know, before my Guru left the world, I could send him an email, get an answer the next day sometimes. But in the beginning, you know, when I first wrote to him, then it was all letters. So we'd send a letter, you know, and then he'd send it to Dallas, I think. And then Dallas would send it to Hong Kong, and then he was like traveling, and then he'd pick it up in Hong Kong. Then he'd go to Fiji, and then he'd send it back. You know, it was sometimes take 3 months to get the letter back. So for 3 months, I was like meditating. I was in intense anxiety. Or I've revealed to my Guru that I have this material desire. So then he wrote back, and he said, everyone has those desires. And I thought, oh my God. Everyone has them? I didn't know. I thought it was just me. I'm the only one who has it. No, everyone has these material desires. So we have to get rid of those material desires. How do you get rid of them? By the sangha that you keep, by the association you keep. That will purify you. Chant the holy name, keep association with pure devotees. That's the program. Eat only Krishna prasad. Don't eat boga. Don't eat chocolate ice cream from Coles, Magnums. Eating so many things. The gulab jamuns from the can. All these. Cocoa Pops. Cornflakes. All this boga. Sometimes I go to a devotee's house, they've got cornflakes or something. And they, put in the bowl, put some milk, make the offering. Krishna's not going to eat that. First, probably because he doesn't even know what's in it. God knows what they even put in these things these days, but he doesn't eat food cooked by non-devotees. He says that. He doesn't eat food. When he says patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam, if you read the purport, I think it's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in the commentary, he says that means the devotee grows the food, harvests the food, cooks the food, offers the food, and then honors the food. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, when Krishna says, I only eat vegetarian, that's what it means, actually. You have to go and grow all your wheat and cut it down, harvest it, right? Cook it, offer it to Krishna, and then you can take it. Otherwise you should fast, just eat apples. This is the system. That's actually the system. Krishna won't eat the food which is cooked by the non-devotees. So we should also try to do that. I know it's, we have to be practical as well. Even Prabhupada one time is on the train, and the train in India, and the train stopped. He looked out the window and someone was cooking kachori. And one of Prabhupada's names when he was growing up was Kachori Mukha, which means kachori face. Always he had a kachori in his hand. Prabhupada always eating kachori. Prabhupada loved it. Prabhupada's famous. Favorite. That's why on Vyasa Puja and everything, we usually make the kachori for Prabhupada. So Prabhupada stopped on the train, he looked out the platform and someone was cooking kachori. Prabhupada's, get me kachori. Right? So Tamil Krishna Maharaj, he went and got kachori for Prabhupada, he brought it back. He said, and then Prabhupada was taking kachori. And Tamil Krishna Maharaj said, Prabhupada, he said, we don't even know who this guy is on the platform. We don't even know who he is, what his consciousness is, you're taking kachori. Prabhupada said, if it is hot and they're cooking it in front of you and you pay for it, it will nullify the karma. Prabhupada said that. He said it will destroy the karma. You pay for it, they cook it hot in front, it has to be pure veg and everything, but if you cook and then you honor, then he said, it will purify the karma. Prabhupada said that. But then, whether or not then we can offer that to Krishna, well, maybe that's a different thing. But then, Prabhupada said to Revati Nandan Prabhu, he was a Swami at the time, he actually said to him one time, he said, for a devotee, everything is prasadam. Okay, so someone like Prabhupada, if Prabhupada eats the kachori, right, because he needs fuel for the body to serve Krishna, that is prasad. Because Prabhupada, Krishna says, I am the taste in the water, in the Gita, right? So you take the water, and Prabhupada even said in 22nd Avenue, I think like 1966, he's giving a lecture. One drunk person came past, a we call like a bum or like a drunk person, like a derelict. He came past and he came into the entrance. And Prabhupada's giving the lecture, and Prabhupada stopped, he looked at him, and he's holding a bottle of wine. He's walking down the street drinking wine. And Prabhupada looks at him, and Prabhupada said, Hare Krishna. Like that. And he looks around at everything. He's probably drunk, and he looks around. And he looks at Prabhupada, Prabhupada said, Hare Krishna. And the drunk said, do you want some? Prabhupada said, you can take. And then he left, he walked down the street. And then Prabhupada said, if he is drinking the wine, and while he drinks the wine he thinks Krishna is the taste in this, then he makes some advancement. So this is the point that Prabhupada's making. For a devotee, right? I mean, you can't drink wine, you can't eat, there's certain things you can't eat and so forth. But if we're taking something in service to Krishna, then even with Harikesh Prabhu, right? He was preaching in, might have been Poland or somewhere, like this back in the 70s, when it was, everything was very closed down. And he came to Vrindavan, he was speaking to Prabhupada. He said, Prabhupada, there's nothing to eat there. There's only like cabbage and potato, and even they're hard to get. And he said, everyone eats meat. There's nothing to eat there. And Prabhupada said, then eat meat. He was like shocked. He looked at Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, eat meat. He said, Prabhupada, what about my consciousness? Prabhupada said, damn your consciousness. Prabhupada said, damn your consciousness. He said, the preaching must go on. And then he went back to Poland. He never ate meat. But, Prabhupada was so emphatic. The service must go on. This is extreme. We only eat meat on the most extreme situations that we eat meat. I've never eaten meat as a devotee. Probably never will. But if it comes down, there's no other option, the service has to go on, then okay, that's what we do. But we don't do it voluntarily. So we have to understand these things. But basically we should eat prasad. We should take prasad. Actually, Prabhupada said, don't eat prasad, he said, honor prasad. Tamal Krishna Maharaj wrote a letter, and he said to everyone, when they installed Radha Londonishwara in England, was that 68? I think it was 68, maybe 69, around about that time. Then they installed Radha Londonishwara. And then Tamal Krishna Maharaj wrote the letter, and he said, please come for the installation of Radha Londonishwara and eat prasad. And then he showed the letter to Prabhupada before he sent it. He said, no, honor prasad. Devotees do not eat prasad, they honor prasad. It means we have to be in the right consciousness. We've given seminars on how to honor prasad. Right? It says you should never stand up while you're honoring prasad. You see, people always stand around in groups, always like honoring or eating. No, that's actually not honoring prasad. It says you should not have shoes on while you're honoring prasad. Many things. If you go to Jagannath Puri and you take Jagannath's Mahaprasad, it says you should not even sit on a mat. It said you should be completely humble if you're taking Jagannath's remnants. So many regulations we should when we take prasadam. Prasadam is non-different from Krishna, so we have to honor it. So the point is that whatever you associate with, then you will become like that. So if you chant the holy name, associate with pure devotees, honor Krishna Prasad, you'll go back home, back to Godhead in this lifetime. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki. Any questions or comments? Mataji.
My question about Vishwarupa. How should we take him as a merciful person or as a
Yeah, it's a good question. I haven't read this chapter for a long time, so I'd have to read, to answer your question, I'd have to read the whole chapter and analyze, where he's at. So I can't give an answer like that. Yeah.
Can I call you later then?
I'm not planning to read the whole chapter. Like tonight I have to give Chaitanya. Yeah, I just don't have time. Yeah, tonight I've got to give a Chaitanya Charitamrita class. So.
Not today, maybe in a week.
I'm not planning to read it this week either. I'm too busy. Like tonight, I have to give Chaitanya Charitamrita class tonight. It's going to take me 2 hours to prepare for the class. And then I've got so much service at the moment, I'm not going to have time to read chapter 9 of canto 6 this week. But other devotees, you can ask them.
One more question.
Yeah.
Is there anything we can learn from Hiranyakashipu?
Sorry, I missed that.
Is there anything we can learn from Hiranyakashipu?
Yeah, lots of things. Lots of things.
One.
Well, one thing he said, whoever you associate with, you'll become like that. So that's one thing we learned from him. He gave good instruction, so we take that instruction. Another thing we also learned from him is look after your kids, because he didn't do a very good job.
To learn from what he did.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. He was a father, but he wasn't a very good father. What's that?
But he didn't look after his kid properly.
Yeah, so don't do that. The instruction is look after your kids.
Yeah, but
From Hiranyakashipu is a demon, right? So from the demons, what do we learn? We learn what not to do.
what about his determination to find Krishna?
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Yeah, to find. Yeah, you could say it like that. Yeah, that's a good thing.
If you are then determined to find Krishna, as Hiranyakashipu was determined to find Vishnu, can we learn from that?
Of course, of course. You can take gold from a dirty place. So yeah, of course, we learn all those things from him. Yeah, yeah. If he inspires you, get a little picture of him.
I think the biggest lesson I get from Hiranyakashipu has been more recent in my own life. And I think a lot of people can relate to what his whole mentality was, trying to figure out a way to avoid death or calamity. And so he was fasting and praying and making all these plans. And Krishna had a totally different plan that he had not thought of. And I think we do that all the time. And certainly in my life, I had not planned to come to Australia this morning. I had been making all these plans on how I'm going to move here and do something. And the last thing I thought of was that I was coming here. And I think we do that all the time, and Krishna has a different plan. And so for me, the lesson in Hiranyakashipu is you gotta stop making plans and pray for Krishna's plan. And wait for him to guide. Because we're doing this all the time, causing this all the time. Trying to avoid this suffering and that thing, how can I become more comfortable? We're doing it all the time. And the lesson is that Krishna's not special. You better just stop making all those plans and plan to be Krishna conscious. Then you're ready for everything. That's for me, the most recent lesson for me has been that.
And I'll add a little bit to that, if I can. Then, for most devotees, you're obviously progressed in Krishna consciousness. For most devotees, how to make their plans, that's under the guidance of their gurus, Because, as in your case, you said, well, you have plans and you're making plans, and then Krishna arranged something else. Okay, for you, that's okay. But then for most devotees, that's not necessarily the best thing for a younger devotee. They have to make sure they're under guidance continuously. What plan should you be following? What the guru is instructing. And then you follow that. Otherwise, for you it's safe, but for others then might not be.
Well, that's the same thing. Working under Krishna's guidance, Guru's guidance is the same thing.
Yeah.
So being able to consult with Krishna directly and pray for guidance is to me the instruction.
But just adding to your point, not disagreeing with your point, But just for a less advanced devotee, that could be a dangerous thing. Because then if someone says, my authority is Krishna, and I'll wait for his guidance, it may not be the best for a lot of devotees. On certain levels, that could be precarious. Well, thank you for your point. Thank you for coming to Australia. Purifying this place. You wrote the Ekadashi book, right? The Ekadashi book, you wrote that, right?
No, I didn't. I wrote Food for Peace.
Food for Peace, okay, yeah. Yeah, my wife uses that a lot. Like that, so I'll tell her you're here, she'll be enthused. Like that. Maybe I can get an autograph. Thank you. But she uses that book a lot. So. Yes, sir.
I have one question regarding the conflicts. You said it.
Any other questions or comments?
Krishna, he won't accept the conflicts because they're cooked by non-devotees. But then how about all the oil we're using, all the ghee we're using, all the milk we're using, it also has been cooked by non-devotees.
So what's the point?
So how can we say that Krishna won't accept the conflicts, which are cooked by non-devotees, but you accept the oil, the milk, and the ghee that we're using?
It's a good point. That's a good point. Everything's very tricky in Kali Yuga. It's tricky, the whole thing. So it is. It's a very good point. But grains are on a different level because it says specifically in the Shastra that grains carry the consciousness of the cook. There is an emphasis on that. So it would appear that we have to be more careful when we're dealing with grains as opposed to the other items. I understand your point. The point's a good point. Yeah, it's okay. That's okay. Just good. Say it again.
It's very tricky to find out what's a grain.
Grain?
Yeah, because some people say sesame seeds are grains. And then some people say actually sesame seed is enough. And some like quinoa is not the grain, but rice is the grain. Like, how do you know what's a grain? It's not sure.
Just do a Google search. If it says grain, then it's a grain. Just be practical. Grains, generally grains means, wheat, rice, and then, obviously other things we would constitute as being grains. So, different things we can say, but just be a little practical, that's all. I mean, if we go back historically, like in the 70s, so they're offering milk in America to the deities, and, there's cod liver oil in the milk, fish oil in the milk. So devotees say to Prabhupada, the milk in America has fish oil in it, and we're offering it to the deities. Prabhupada said, continue to offer it. Right? Milk is so important, we have to offer it. Because Prabhupada knew there were blemishes in everything in Kali Yuga. Kaleya dosha nidhe rajan, right? Bhagavatam says, Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults. Right? There's just faults, and I agree with your point. Okay, then, I said the oil is not pure. So what should we be doing? As Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, make our own oil, milk our own cows, grow our own grains, grow our own sabji, that's what we should be doing. And then we can avoid all that thing. But then that's very difficult.
One more question on a separate point. And how important, like you mentioned that, for example, in honor of the prasada, you give example in Puri, don't even have a mat or eat, then we should not honor prasada by standing. So there are all these formalities that go along with the bhakti. And how important are they? Because this is just one example, then I hear some guys, I didn't see it in the book, but seeing the book that it's even mentioned in Hari Bhakti Vilas, that you should not worship the deities, we should not study the scriptures without doing some pranayama. Or you should there's some formalities that go with it. So how important are they?
Prabhupada said in the beginning of the movement, he said, if I told you all the rules and regulations, you would faint. No, he said that, right? So what Prabhupada gave us in ISKCON, that's what we follow. That's like the minimal standard. And even there's quite a lot of rules and regulations we have to follow, right? So just like Chaturmasya, what did Prabhupada ask us to do? Yeah, fast from 4 things. That's not much. If you go into Hari Bhakti Vilas and you go into other places, there's a lot more detail on Chaturmasya, a lot more, right? But we don't, Prabhupada say, okay, just this. It's Kali Yuga, I'm preaching, it's a Gosjanandi movement, just follow this, the basic things. So we just follow those things. We don't have to, Hari Bhakti Vilas does say many things, but Prabhupada extracted what he would call like the essence, and then he gave us those things. Yeah. So if you don't, I don't do pranayama before I do deity worship, right? It might be a good thing, but I just don't have time. So, because I've got other services I have to do as well, so you have to be practical. So if I basically just follow what you're taught, as a devotee in the ashram in your training, that's what you should follow. It's okay. Something else you want to add?
No, it's all.
Yeah. So just follow what Prabhupada said. That's what we do. If you want to add things, that's okay, but that's like that's the minimal standard.
My question is what are all these formalities for?
What are they for?
Yeah, because some Prabhupada just give us the essence. It seems like the essence is enough. But then why all these formalities are there?
Because it's culture. Because when you get back to the spiritual world, everyone eats with their right hand. That's culture. No, not like all the time. There are pastimes when he's with Lord Brahma, and he's eating out of the left hand, and the acharyas point out that's not even considered cultured, right? But that's Krishna, so like that. So, but you get back to the spiritual way, everyone eats with their right hand, right? They follow certain etiquettes, right? It's all there in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, like someone asked me this recently. They said, why do the Mataji sit there and the men sit there? There's like someone who's new to our, now she's chanting 16 rounds and she's coming into the movement. She finds some of these things strange. She said, why do the women there and the men like that? And she said, why do we have to follow all these things if we're supposed to be spiritual and all these things? So, I explained different things about the butter and the fire and all those things. But I said, when you get back to the spiritual world, it's actually like that, surprisingly, right? The men are there and the women are there. It mentions clearly in all of Krishna's pastimes, right? There's intermingling, but there's still a certain degree of segregation as well. It's culture, right? So there is a culture, a spiritual culture, which is there. So that's why we follow these things, because it's a culture. And you have to learn it, because when you get back to the spiritual world, if you're eating with the left hand, you're walking around standing up, honoring prasadam, everyone will say, Baba, what are you doing? Where are you from? I'm from Dank Street. Didn't they train you there? So you're supposed to be learning here what you're going to do up there. That's the point. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay. But that's the answer. That's the answer. It's a cultural thing. In the spiritual world, there are rules and regulations. There's a culture, a spiritual culture which they develop. Krishna wears a dhoti. Okay, you're going to take off your dhoti today and you're going to put on civilian pants, right? You're going to do that today, right?
Yeah.
You're going to do it, right? But when you get back to the spiritual world, everyone's wearing this, right? And everyone's wearing sari. That's what they wear there, right? So you get back and say, oh, well, I want my civilian pants today. I think Krishna's going to say, oh, I'm sorry, go back to Dank Street. It doesn't work like that. So there's cultural things, there's reasons why they do all those things. So the best idea is to get with the program. Get with the program. Right? Because I understand why, and we don't emphasize those things too much when someone's coming in. We just emphasize chanting and doing that. But then, people, inevitably they ask. They say, okay, why do you do that? Why do you segregate? Because it's up there as well. So you're going to have to get with the program. If you can't adjust to it here, you're going to have problems when you get up there. So train yourself. Maybe that's what Krishna wants. Krishna wants you to eat with the right hand. Krishna wants you to sit when you take prasadam. Right? It's not like everyone's just walking around, just, pani puri, just like, it doesn't work like that. It describes in the pastimes, everyone sits in rows, right? In the morning when Krishna has breakfast, Nanda Maharaj sits, Krishna's on one side, Balaram's on the other side, Madhamangal's on the other side of Krishna, Sri Dharma, And Radha, with under the guidance of Yashoda, Rohini, right? They serve, and it's done very gracefully and very. There's an etiquette in the serving, like that. Well, you can say, well, I don't want to do that. I just want to stand up and walk. No, it doesn't work like that. So it's up to you if you want to follow these things or not. But there are reasons why we follow. Okay? Okay. So.
You mentioned that sometimes we wake up very consciousness. also wake up with the morning
Yeah.
consciousness.
Yep.
If we become aware that we wake up to the morning consciousness, how do we kind of take shelter and kind of change that consciousness gap there?
First thing you do, you have a shower, right? And finish with cold water. You know, I think you're strong enough to do that. Do you do that? Or? Yeah, start doing it. Start doing it. I've been doing this since I joined, right? I went through periods in my very early times as a brahmachari where I had cold showers, but that only lasted a few months. But always finish, even for a few seconds. But now I do it probably for about, I don't know, 10 or seconds or more or something. Just cold water, right? From an Ayurvedic point of view, right, it has a very powerful effect on your physiognomy, your health, and also on your mental disposition. Now it's becoming like a thing around the world, Wim Hof method, and it's becoming like a whole thing now. But yeah, just do that in the morning. So that'll be enough to start getting the demons out, right? That'll help. No, that'll help. It's not going to get them all out, but but they'll start moving away. They'll think, I don't want to stay here. Demons like, soft, warm, Hiranyakashipu means soft golden beds. That's what demons like. You put a cold water, if you're in a soft golden bed, someone throws a bucket of cold water on you, right? Your demoniac spirit changes quite quickly. And then we follow the morning program, right? So we go to Mangalati, you chant your rounds, you go to the class and everything. So if you go from 4:30 to 8:30, right, just solid 4 hours of sadhana, demons aren't going to stick around for that. They're going to think, wow, I don't like this place. I want to go back to bed. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. That's like, so just do that. Yeah. Just follow the program and then you'll become pure quickly. That's the other point. So what's the question?
How do we say is Prahlad not a pure devotee as Prabhu Goswami?
Because of what?
Because of the definition in Bhaktivedanta Sindhu says pure devotion, the object must be Radha Krishna.
No, it doesn't say Radha Krishna. It doesn't say Radha Krishna. It doesn't say Radha Krishna. Anyabhilashita shunyam.
Not Radha Krishna, Radha Krishna. In Vrindavan, the moon where he is, so that's how.
It doesn't say that. You mean in the commentary? Does Krishna say that or something? Or is that what you're saying? Rupa Goswami doesn't say that. Krishna Anushilanam. So Krishna means avatari, all the incarnations. Who's inside of Krishna? Nrsimhadev. So when we say Krishna, it means all the incarnations. So yeah, I mean, you can't say Anyabhilashita Sunyam, Jnana Kama Dyanavritam, Anukoyena, Krishna, Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha, Matsya, Koma, Anushilanam Bhakti. You can't, it's only one verse, so he's saying Krishna. Krishna means everyone. So, any other questions? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki? Gauranga.